This is ABC 7 News at noon. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Hello and welcome. I'm Scott Dennis. Thanks so much for joining us. Topping our news today at noon. It's the end of an era. After 146 years, the curtain is falling on the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus later this year. Parent company Feld Entertainment made the official announcement just moments ago at its headquarters in Manatee County. ABC 7's Kate Flexter joins us live from there with more. Kate?
Good afternoon, Scott. We're live here at Feld Entertainment, where they just formally announced they are shutting down the greatest show on earth. And there were a couple of main reasons behind the decision. For one, they said they simply weren't selling enough tickets to keep the show going. Now, those ticket sales went down even more after they phased out the elephants. And that, coupled with the high operating costs, made it just not a sustainable business model. The company employs more than 400 people for the circus, and this decision, of course, affects those people as well.
Working with all of our people, including performers, to help them transition to other opportunities. And in the next few weeks, we'll be meeting with people individually and working out a customized plan for each person.
We have the full story coming up at 5 p.m., so be sure to stay with us. But for now, we'll send it back to you in the studio. Scott?
All right, thank you so much, Kate. Now, this morning we talked to one of the world's greatest circus performers. Sarasota's Bello Nock is known as the world's greatest daredevil. Aside from his signature foot-tall red hair, Nock is also known for his legendary stunts, such as the Inflatable Man and Trampoline Act with the Big Apple Circus. Nock joined Ringling Brothers in 2001 as their headliner. Nock calls the end of the Ringling Circus disappointing news, but he believes the show will go on.
Circus industry will you know, sometimes you've got to lose something to find it. And I think the circus will be fine. So although it's very sad, I don't think it's the end of circus. In fact, I know it's not.
By the way, you can see more of Bello on Suncoast View this afternoon at 4 o'clock here on ABC 7. Time magazine named Bello America's Best Clown back in 2001, and he traces his circus family lineage way back to 1775. He's one of my favorite circus performers. He
Absolutely.
He combines not only breathtaking stunts, but humor as well.
And I have to say, one of the kindest people I've ever met.
Yes,
just
absolutely.
Good guy.
Yep. And right from here in Sarasota.
Yes, indeed. Love it. We had some pretty good weather compared to some Martin Luther King Day years in the past. We've had rain showers, really cold weather. So, no, I guess we can take a little bit of cloud cover. So far, it's not producing any rain showers, and I think the chance of it producing too much in the way of rain is pretty low. Although, because these clouds are trapped, we're getting a little bit more cloud cover than sunshine, and with a little daytime heating, I'm going to have to put in about a 10% chance of showers. Mostly, I think, in Charlotte County and in inland areas, but there is that slight risk. Down to the southern tip, that's where the showers are probably a better shot of seeing some appreciable rainfall, but we have this narrow little strip of moisture headed our way, and that will probably keep us in clouds more than anything else during the day, more than sunshine, I fear. Daytime high tops out about 80 today. We'll have the complete forecast in just a few minutes, Scott.
Okay, John, thank you. The search for the suspect in a Manatee County double murder homicide continues today. 27-year-old LaShawna Stevenson Weeks and 32-year-old Barry Joseph were found dead in a home on 15th Street Court East on Friday. Deputies found the bodies after responding to calls of a shooting there. They believe it was a targeted attack. A man was seen leaving the scene in a dark blue or black compact car. Investigators say he was wearing a red hat and a white shirt. Anyone with information should call the Sheriff's Office or Manatee County Crime Stoppers at 866-634-TIPS. Happening today, funeral services will be held in Charlotte County for an Orange County Sheriff's deputy killed during a manhunt for a murder suspect in Orlando last week. Deputy Norman Lewis was killed in a motorcycle crash while searching for Markeith Lloyd. He's the man accused of gunning down Orlando Police Sergeant Deborah Clayton. At his services in Orlando yesterday, friends and family spoke of his dreams of becoming a deputy, his dedication to his job, and the impact he left on those he served.
When asked, "What do you think you do best?" he replied, "I like to make people smile."
Lewis was a graduate of Port Charlotte High School. He joined the Orange County Sheriff's Office in 2005, and his funeral services in Port Charlotte will be held this afternoon at Murdoch Baptist Church, beginning at 2 o'clock. Today, millions are honoring the legacy of famed civil rights leader and humanitarian Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. President Ronald Reagan signed the holiday into law in 1983. King's actual birthday is January 15th, but the federal holiday falls on the third Monday in January every year. The civil rights icon was killed by an assassin in 1968. But as many would tell you, today is about celebrating the civil rights leader's legacy and not his tragic end. Here in the Suncoast, King was honored with a community breakfast. Dozens of local pastors, educators, and Sarasota officials attended, including Sarasota Mayor Willie Shaw, Sarasota NAACP President Trevor Harvey. Ceremony started with the singing of the National Black Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing, followed by breakfast. 12th Circuit Court Chief Judge Charles Williams gave an inspirational keynote speech. And one man we talked to who attended today's breakfast says he's taking away a very important lesson.
Unity and solidarity. I think this year is important that we can come together as race, as ethnic groups. We need to have that unity and solidarity with each other because that's going to be very important.
Breakfast took place at the Robert L. Taylor Community Center, and I was proud to co-MC the event along with Hank Batty. Also in Sarasota, a ceremonial march to freedom taking place a short time ago. It also started at the Robert L. Taylor Complex and wrapped up at the Martin Luther King Jr. Park in Newtown. ABC 7's Jacqueline Matter joins us now live from the park in Sarasota, where an afternoon celebration is underway. Jacqueline.
Y'all remember Vicki Odom?
Yes, Scott, the weather is cooperating this morning as we kick off here, and people are marching all the way from the Robert L. Taylor Complex here to the Sarasota parking at Martin Luther King. And you kind of feel a sense of pride, a sense of hope, and a sense of betterment for the future as those people marched here to Martin Luther King Jr. Park. Now, dozens of folks came out to the march, many holding signs like Black Lives Matter, We Stand as One, and quoting many of MLK's famous quotes towards civil rights. One group of women even told me they marched back in the 60s and thought times would never be like they were back then, but they feel now more than ever they needed to show up, while others are hoping to educate younger generations.
Because of the current times and the environment, I think it's more important that we all come together now than it has been in a long time.
We're always about, showing our guys a better way. We have some great kids in our group, very smart kids, and we always try to keep positive influences around them and tell them they can do anything.
Now, there will be events out here all day to celebrate the Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. There'll be vendors, concerts, some people handing out some free supplies, as well as many other events taking place at Martin Luther King Jr. Park. In Sarasota, Jacqueline Matter, ABC 7, your Suncoast News.
All right, Jacqueline, thank you. More celebrations taking place in the area. The annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day Parade is underway right now in St. Petersburg. Organizers are calling it the MLK Dream Big Parade. Tampa Bay Buccaneers quarterback Jameis Winston is the Grand Marshal. Notable marching bands from Florida A&M University and Tuskegee University are also performing. All right, time now to get over to the kitchen and check in for the first time with ABC 7 Culinary Director Judy Gallagher and see what she's cooking for us today. Hi, Judy.
Well, hi there, Scott. I have a frittata, and this is the type of frittata I either make for brunch, like I did yesterday, or for dinner. I think it bodes well either way because it's whipped in with ricotta cheese and Gruyere. And Gruyere is that nutty French cheese. So together you get some creaminess and then you get just a little bite, a little pull like a Swiss cheese. We're gonna brown off some potatoes, but if you don't want to do the carbs and potatoes, you can easily substitute butternut squash. You can put in some pancetta if you want, but we're going to start by melting down the butter and adding the potatoes, and wait till you see when we get back what we're going to add to make this simple but elegant potato ricotta frittata.
ABC 7 News at 7 weeknights.
Hi, I'm Chef Judy. Every Wednesday morning, I'll be with the chefs at the Publix Aprons Cooking School serving up the most wonderful dishes. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday on ABC 7's Good Morning Suncoast.
That will look great on you.
Every time you shop here, you have the power to change lives.
Does she work here?
No, she's just a proud supporter of Goodwill.
Flooring Depot has been serving Sarasota and Manatee counties for over 20 years with the best products and installation. Flooring Depot offers carpet, tile, hardwood, and more. Before you buy, give us a try. Stop by our showroom or visit us on the web at bestvaluecarpet.com.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help. And the Affordable Care Act guarantees coverage of substance abuse. Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Are you losing hope? You can recover and get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven, gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares.
Call 1-800-764-8708. That's 1-800-764-8708.
They're coming from Tampa, Fort Myers, even Orlando. They're coming from everywhere for the Sarasota Ford Promise. We promise we're more than a dealership. We're a destination with a movie theater, massage room, aquarium, cafe, and more. We promise to give you top dollar for your trade, even if you don't buy from us. And if you do, we promise you the best deal. Bring us any competitor's ad and we'll beat it by at least $1,000. That's why they're coming from everywhere to Sarasota Ford, where 41 meets 301. SarasotaFord.com.
There are many choices when it comes to AC companies. Our advice? Choose a company that performs employee background checks and is licensed with top manufacturers like Daikin. Daikin offers a 12-year parts and labor limited warranty. For better comfort and value, call Elite Heating and Air.
Now, the official Suncoast weather with ABC7 meteorologist John Scalzi.
Beautiful shots in over the weekend of the gorgeous Sunday sunset. This was sent in by Cindy Desmond, a frequent contributor. Pics at mysuncoast.com. Snap one, send it in. We'll try to get it on the air for you. Beautiful colors last night. You know what? I think tonight might be a similar kind of night. We'll have these low kind of stratocumulus clouds kind of locked into a narrow layer of the atmosphere. And I think we'll see some breaks as we progress through the afternoon. I only felt comfortable giving us about a 10% chance of rain showers today. I just think that we're going to start mixing things away and getting more and larger breaks in these clouds as we head through the afternoon and into the evening hour. Dew point now up to 60. Thank you to the southeasterly component of our east-southeast wind. That's really pumping the humidity back. I think it's setting the stage for potentially some fog tomorrow morning. We'll watch for that. We have a east-southeast wind coming in at about 13. That should settle down, I think, a little bit during the overnight tonight. 76 in Wauchula, 77 in Myakka, Arcadia, Parrish, Bradenton, Sarasota, 75 in Punta Gorda, 76 in Northport, 75 in Venice, 74 in Inglewood, 73 in Longboat Key. So you can see this morning we had clouds coming in at us from the Gulf waters, kind of high clouds, but they are most brightly illuminated by the infrared imagery during the morning hours, and so they came across. And then as they exited, we saw this plume of moisture coming up from the south underneath of them as the visible satellite started to kick in. And it's a significant plume of moisture as those winds have turned somewhat southeast. So that's one of the reasons that I put in that 10% chance of showers. And they're really kind of captured in a what we call an inversion. It's basically, if you think of a lid on a boiling pot, you know, it kind of keeps the steam in place and doesn't allow the atmosphere to turn over so much. That's basically the effect of this high pressure ridge kind of trying to sink south over the course of the next couple of days, kind of putting a lid on our atmosphere. We're waiting for that lid to kind of be taken off the pot, and I think the daytime heating will help mix up the atmosphere and allow that to occur. I think so anyway. Low pressure area back to the west, of course, producing that major ice storm. It has produced ice from Colorado and will take it all the way up eventually to down east Maine as that low tracks north. High pressure over us, kind of keeping that low from really impacting us too terribly much. Chance of severe weather as well along that frontal boundary as it plows through the moisture coming up from Gulf waters in the deep south, that warm, moist plume. Another low pressure area going to move on shore eventually. It's still off our surface map, but it will provide just astonishing amounts of snowfall in the Pacific Northwest. We could get 15 feet of snow falling from this storm as it moves onshore in the highest elevations of Washington State. And then down a little further south, maybe 15 inches of rains in the mountains of California. So a tremendous storm about to move onshore there. For us, though, we won't notice it. It'll be mostly sunny skies, dry conditions, above normal warmth. Now, if you are headed to Washington, D.C. to see the inauguration and worried about the weather, there's cause, because it's kind of a sloppy surface map that's developing as we head into Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and even Sunday. Currently, I'd say that we'd probably have a decent day in Washington, D.C. on Thursday. Not so decent day on Friday, Inauguration Day, probably rain showers around, and then clearing on Saturday with rains returning Sunday. But for us, it's going to be great right straight through the period, looks like, with above average temperatures as we head into the weekend. Winds, as I mentioned, coming in a little breezy and then kind of settling down as we head into the overnight at about 5 to 10. Forecast calling for daytime highs near 80 over the next several days, and then as we head into the weekend, maybe a chance of showers. Scott?
All right, John, thank you so much. In health news today, more teens are suffering from depression and not receiving treatment for it. That's according to a recent study published by the Cleveland Clinic. Depression among teen girls is rising at a faster rate than boys. Symptoms include changes in sleep patterns, whether it's sleeping more or less than usual, irritability, and changes in grades at school. One possible explanation researchers have for the rise is cyberbullying.
So oftentimes boys kind of will duke it out and then move on. But in females, it tends to be more of trying to damage relationships. And what we're seeing now is that there's more opportunity for that via social media.
Teen depression and suicide is the third leading cause of death for teens between the ages of 15 and 19. If your teenager is showing some signs, doctors say do not hesitate to find them professional help. Also, leave an open line of communication. A new workout trend is on the rise, sort of, but in order to do it, you're going to need a goat. A woman in Oregon is offering goat yoga classes. People use the goats during the sessions. Some even have them on their backs while doing a yoga pose. Yoga teacher Lainey Morse hosts the classes on her farm. She says many people who come to her class are dealing with anxiety and depression. Some are recovering from cancer, and others use animal-assisted therapy to help with disabilities. Right now, it's a 12-person waiting list for the class, and it grows by the day. How about that? Still to come in your Suncoast News, a close call for one truck driver and a state trooper on an icy highway in Kansas. And it seems the richer are getting richer. Well, its study is revealing about the fortune of some of the wealthiest people in the world. Stay with us.
Here's something we bet you didn't know. Nearly half of all cancers can be prevented. That's right, half. Nearly 50%, mostly by making small everyday changes in your diet and controlling your weight, walking more, eating less, and eating foods that help you and your family to seriously reduce the risk of cancer. And of course, by not smoking. Visit the Cancer Prevention Together We Can website and get a free 30-day planner filled with tips, recipes, stats, and more about protecting your family. Go to prevent50.org.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7.
After my election, there was talk of a post-racial America. And such a vision, however well-intended, was never realistic.
Race relations in our nation and here on the Suncoast. As Trump prepares to take office, what are the expectations for change? I'm Alan Cohn. Join us for this critical conversation.
Tonight on ABC 7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you. ABC 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you weeknights at 5. On your TV. On your computer. On your camera. On your smartphone. On your Apple Watch. And now you can get ABC 7, your Suncoast News on Fire TV. Just go to mysuncoast.com and click on the mobile tab for a list of fast and free downloads that deliver ABC 7, your Suncoast News on the go.
Florida's last private island is a waterfront lifestyle like no other. This is Harbor Isle, just 5 minutes from the sugar sand beaches of Anna Maria Island. This sun-splashed paradise invites you to enjoy natural adventures and all the recreation of a tropical resort. Island coach homes and waterfront condos are now available from the high 400s. Don't miss the Luxury by the Bay event, Saturday, January 21st from noon till 4 p.m. at Harbor Isle. Water ski show, luxury cars, wine tasting, model home tours, and more.
What to do when your heating or air conditioning needs service or, heaven forbid, replacement? Call Air Now today. We've been serving Sarasota and Manatee County since 1946. We offer $49.95 tune-ups, lease or finance options, and remember, service today or it's free.
Outdoor living is one of the greatest perks about living in Florida. So whether this is your style, or this, or maybe this, contact Superior Pools. They've been building pools from Sarasota to Naples since 2001, and they would love to build yours.
Happening today, the top tennis players in the world are vying for the year's first Grand Slam title, the Australian Open. First full day of the tournament kicking off today. Competing for the title, American Serena Williams. Williams already has 22 Grand Slams. She's won the Australian Open title 6 times. Williams recently got engaged to Reddit co-founder Alexis Ohanian, but she says she's had very little time for wedding planning. On the men's side, Andy Murray is ranked #1 in the world, but #2 Novak Djokovic is expected to be the favorite. He's trying to become the first man ever to win 7 Australian Open titles. We're just about 2 weeks away from Super Bowl 51 and one step closer now to finding out who will take the field at NRG Stadium in Houston. In the AFC, despite a slow start, the Patriots took an early lead and then dominated in the second half against the Texans. New England heading to the AFC Championship game for the 6th straight year. They'll play the Pittsburgh Steelers, who beat the Kansas City Chiefs last night 18-16. On the NFC side, disappointment in Dallas as the Cowboys lose a heartbreaker to the Green Bay Packers 34-31 after the Packers kick a 51-yard field goal with just 3 seconds left on the clock. The Packers will now face the Atlanta Falcons for the NFC Championship on Sunday. All right, let's get back to the kitchen and see how lunch is coming along with Culinary Director Judy Gallagher. Judy?
Scott, it's coming along really well. So remember, we started out by melting down some butter. I use the Irish butter, salted, and I'm frying up our potatoes. The recipe I sent says you have to peel them. You really don't, especially if they're boiling potatoes, because the skin is really thin on those. Just wash them well. And I put in some butternut squash. I often make 2 frittatas, one with zucchini and butternut squash instead of having the carbs of the potatoes, but I'm doing both in here. So I've beaten together 8 eggs and beaten them pretty darn well, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna season it with salt, and I have a chili salt. So it's a smoked salt, a little bit of smoked chili pepper in there, bring up that flavor, and a generous amount of fresh ground black pepper in there. And then we're gonna put about a tablespoon or 2 of fresh chives. I really want you to make sure that you use fresh chives. It makes such a big difference. So now we're going to add Gruyere, a couple cups of Gruyere, and we're going to add about 15 ounces of ricotta into this. And you definitely want to beat the eggs first. I prefer to use whole milk ricotta. You can use part skim, but do not use fat-free or the completely skimmed, because you need the body, the texture in this. This is what's gonna help puff it up some more. Once it's completely beat, and you can see, you can use a whisk, or I just use my fork, but I really wanna make sure it's incorporated well. We're going to add 1/3 of a cup of all-purpose flour and 3/4 of a teaspoon of baking powder. The baking powder is gonna make that poof that we really want. And the flour, the all-purpose flour, is going to just hold it together better so it doesn't sink. You know how sometimes you make a frittata, you stick an omelet in the oven for the last minute, and then it just all sinks in the middle, kind of like a souffle would? Well, this won't, which is really fun. So how easy was that, right? So there we go. It has the ricotta and the Gruyere cheese. It's going to go right into the pan with potatoes and the squash. So I'm going to move that around a little bit. The potatoes are always going to technically sink to the bottom, which is fine. We're going to add some Gruyere cheese on top. That is going in the oven. And when you come back, my friends, we're going to saute up some grape tomatoes and make a really flavorful topping. I'll be back in just a few minutes to show you how.
has its struggles. The fact is, people have less than they did just a few years ago, and sadly, the need becomes more profound every day. Season of Sharing provides funds to help individuals and families in need, ensuring they will not end up homeless and without a roof over their heads. Together, providing a helping hand and making a difference. Season of Sharing. Give today at cfsarasota.org.
Every child follows a path in life. For many, that path will lead them to a door that gives them a place to grow, to learn, to belong, a place to forge their future. Because while many doors open, these doors transform. They did for us. Support your local Boys and Girls Clubs. Great futures start here.
So get the new year off to a great start with safety and peace of mind. Subaru offers more 2016 IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus winners than any other brand. And Subaru had the best resale value of all brands for 2016. Now you can lease a new Subaru Forester for just $209 a month, or get 0% financing with complimentary maintenance included. Get more for your money. Go to Sunset Subaru in Sarasota.
Today, everyone is looking for carpeting that lasts longer. G. Fried has you covered with Karastan. With a legacy of quality and integrity, we provide you with a huge selection of Karastan carpets with exclusive lifetime limited warranties. All installed by our highly skilled, highly knowledgeable team. Come ask us why Karastan is the best and most durable. G. Fried Flooring America. Our world is at your feet.
Since 1972, Sleep King has provided quality mattresses and accessories at the best discounted prices available. Top brands like Simmons, Sealy, Serta, Beautyrest, iComfort, and more. With available free delivery, free financing, and free setup and removal. For a comfortable night's sleep with same-day delivery, even if we have to carry it on our backs. Trust Sleep King of Sarasota. Buy it today, sleep on it tonight.
Live from our studios on Florida's Suncoast, this is ABC 7 News at noon. Your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
Welcome back. President-elect Donald Trump currently engaged in a war of words with the intelligence community and a civil rights icon. The confrontation comes just days before he's due to be sworn in as the 45th President of the United States. ABC's Stephanie Ramos reports from Washington.
On this Martin Luther King Jr. Day, the feud between President-elect Donald Trump and a civil rights icon continues.
I think the Russians participated in helping this man get elected, and they helped destroy the candidacy of Hillary Clinton.
Trump firing back at Georgia Congressman John Lewis on Twitter, saying Lewis is all talk, 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 no action. The barrage of Trump's tweets stirring up bipartisan support for Lewis, a civil rights leader who became nationally known for his prominent role in the Selma to Montgomery marches in the 1960s, fighting for civil rights alongside Martin Luther King Jr. Lewis is now leading a new movement among Democrats in Congress.
I don't plan to attend the inauguration. It would be the first one that I miss since I've been in the Congress.
Now at least 27 Democrats in Congress say they will also skip out on the inauguration. But over the weekend, Trump shifting his attention to the CIA after these comments from CIA Director John Brennan about the Russians' hack into the 2016 presidential election.
What I think Mr. Trump has to understand is that this is more than being about him. And it's about the United States and our national security.
Trump tweeting, quote, "Was this the leaker of fake news?" And Trump tells the Washington Post he's finalizing a plan to provide health insurance for everyone, as we are just days away from his inauguration. Nearly 1 million visitors are expected to pack D.C. for Trump's swearing in, many of them staying for a planned women's march on Saturday in protest. Stephanie Ramos, ABC News, Washington.
Meanwhile, two of Congressman John Lewis's books are turning out to be bestsellers on Amazon. Sales of the civil rights leader's novels skyrocketed following his feud with the president-elect. A collection of his March trilogy and memoir are the top two bestsellers right now on Amazon. Developing this afternoon, at least 5 people are now dead. 9 are injured after a gunman attacks a nightclub in Mexico. Mexican police are not releasing many details because the investigation is still ongoing. It happened in Cancun during a music festival at the Playa del Carmen resort. The gunman allegedly entered the nightclub on the resort and opened fire. There's no status yet on what happened to the gunman. Caught on camera back in the States, it was a close call for a semi-tractor trailer and a trooper in Kansas. Dashcam video shows the driver losing control, crossing the median, and then the trunk enters oncoming traffic and almost hits the trooper's vehicle. Fortunately, no one was hurt. The troopers are blaming icy roads for that incident. Speaking of the ice, the storm freezing parts of central United States, sleet freezing rain being seen in states like Kansas with ice covering everything from power lines to roads. Highways in Nebraska and Iowa glazed over with ice. In Oklahoma, more than 11,000 people were initially without power there. The storm also leaving some neighborhoods there littered with tree debris, branches falling under the heavy weight of that ice. One woman has been living in her home for 60 years, and now it's completely frozen.
I spent my lifetime building a house and have it go down in one blow, and it's going to take a long time.
The severe weather also impacting parts of Texas. More than 30 homes destroyed there, 30,000 people without power. Fortunately, no injuries have been reported. Here in the Suncoast, all we have are a few clouds, so nothing to complain about after seeing all that.
No, we're very lucky. You know, this is one of the longest duration ice storms I can recall, covering one of the largest areas as well. You ever been through an ice storm?
No.
Hideous.
Yeah.
Hideous. I was stuck in the one back in, I think it was 85 in North Florida, where they had 3.5 inches actually of ice in Jacksonville. Wow. It was remarkable.
You can't move then, huh? You're just stuck.
Oh, cars were all over the road. I mean, they just abandoned. There was no place because all the hotels were taken, you know, so there was no place to go. It was Christmas Eve. It was a rough road. And a lot of people are experiencing similar situations across the country today, power outages, etc. Yeah, just a little cloud cover around and some breaks in the clouds from time to time. I think we'll see more breaks in those clouds as we head into the afternoon. I do hope so anyway. I think that the cloud cover that we have around is sufficiently thin that we won't see a lot of rainfall around. It's kind of trapped in a thin layer of atmosphere. So I don't think that we have much more than about a 10% chance of seeing any showers. Plus, the daytime heating is kind of being blocked a little bit by these lower level clouds. Some scattered showers down to the south, but otherwise we're looking at daytime high temperatures topping out about 80 by about 2 p.m. with about a 10% chance of showers. And then I think we'll see a little bit more sun as we head into the later afternoon and evening. Complete forecast in a minute, Scott.
All right, John, thank you. As we told you at the top of the newscast, it's the end of an era for the greatest show on earth. Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus will soon be dropping its curtain for the final time after nearly 150 years in business. A press conference about that closure wrapping up just a little more than an hour ago in Manatee County. ABC's Elizabeth Herr has more.
Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey. The show will not go on. An American institution calling it quits after 146 years.
Of course, we're sad, and it was a very difficult decision to make.
The famous three-ring circus thrilled spectators since the 1800s and tried to stay relevant, casting the first African-American ringmaster in a major U.S. circus in 1999 and the first female ringmaster just last month. But the nonstop battles with animal rights groups led to the show removing its star elephant, eventually retiring them in 2016.
After we retired the elephants from the touring units, we saw a much steeper drop in sales.
The company now announcing declining attendance and high operating costs among the reasons for making this big decision.
We are so glad that this is finally coming to an end.
Animal rights groups are claiming victory, but in recent years, the human acts also came under scrutiny after this 2014 stunt went terribly wrong, injuring 8 aerial performers. And just last year, a BMX routine ended with one daredevil rider rushed to the hospital. Even still, longtime circus goers say they are disappointed.
Oh no, that's not right. They can't do that to the little kids.
Just there's a whole part of Americana that's gone.
So
30 more performances to go with the final show set for May 21st, right here in New York. Elizabeth Herr, ABC News, New York.
In other news today, dozens of people are protesting plans to expand operations at Mosaic's Wingate mine in Manatee County. Activists took to the streets Saturday to protest of the Mosaic Corporation. The phosphate company is asking the county to expand that site by 3,600 acres. The vast majority of residents in the area use well water, and several say they're worried about the potential impacts on their water quality.
Water is life. So how do you protect that if you don't have county water or city water?
Mosaic and Florida's Department of Environmental Protection insist there's no impact on drinking water. A final public hearing will be held January 26th. Many protesters saying that's likely the last chance to stop the mine's expansion. In consumer news, McDonald's is facing a growing threat from convenience stores. According to a report by the nation's Restaurant News, convenience stores like 7-Eleven and Circle K are offering more prepared foods. And those stores are turning out to be cheaper, the typical purchase costing about $2 less than at fast food chains. They also have other advantages, such as more menu offerings in addition to the other products they sell, like gas and groceries. American Apparel is closing all of its retail stores. More than 3,000 employees could lose their jobs as a result. The once popular retailer filed for bankruptcy in 2015 and again in November of last year. The brand, however, is not expected to disappear. It could be sold in other chains like Target or Kmart. The chain expects to close all of its 110 stores by the end of April. 8 men now own the same amount of wealth as the poorest half of the world. According to a new study by Oxfam, the gap between the super rich and the poor far greater than just a year ago. The world's 10 biggest corporations together have revenue greater than the 180 poorest countries combined. The report details how big business and the super rich have used their political influence and dodged taxes to widen the income gap. Some of the 8 men on the richest list include Americans Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Jeff Bezos, and Mark Zuckerberg. Back to the kitchen now and see how lunch is coming along with Judy Gallagher, a delicious frittata for us today. Judy?
You know what I love about this recipe? It doesn't make what the difference the weather is. If it's really cold out, you might serve this with a bowl of homemade tomato soup. If it's hot out, it's going to go great with a glass of Pinot Grigio. So the frittata just came out of the oven. As you can see, I started garnishing. I get these little crostinis. They're already seasoned up at the fresh market. This one has sea salt and rosemary. And I'm going to take the straight ricotta. I don't even need to season it. And I'm just going to spread some ricotta on top and a little bit of fresh chive and go around the pan. So basically there's 1 crostini per person in how we'll cut it. So we have that all set, right? So now we're going to take our pan where I just browned a little bit of prosciutto, because we can use that if you want to. That'll go on top, or it can even go inside. And we're going to add some organic grape tomatoes. Using a good quality, really important. You want them bright and fresh. Beautiful grape tomatoes over at Yoder's Produce Market. So I'm going to give this a quick little toss. Really about 40 seconds is all we're going to do it for. We have the salt. Now let's get a little pepper in there, a very good quality olive oil. And then once it comes off the heat is when I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the fresh basil. So give this a little bit of a toss and a little bit of fresh basil. Even mint will work if that's what you have growing in your earth boxes right now. And I'm going to just basically put this right on the top of the frittata. Look at that. This is just fantastic. Now, when you go to cut it, what you're going to do is you can use your guide, are these beautiful crostinis, to cut it. And just be careful you don't scrape the bottom of your pan. Make sure your pan that you're using is oven proof. And that's what I love about this. It can just go from cooking it right into the oven. So we kind of cut it like that, and then we're going to put it out on the table. And what I do, folks, is I just take this big pan, I've made the cuts, I let everybody come over with a pie server, and I serve it just like that. I think it looks really beautiful when you serve dinner in the pan, and that's what I try to do about once a week, is serve dinner in the pan. So you put it out on a cutting board, it looks beautiful, it's ready to go, and it's gonna be nice and fresh. If you want some extra chives on top as well, as you can, and maybe just a pinch more of that great coarse salt with a little bit of the chili in it. You know, people like Scalzi just might want a little hot sauce on the side, so you can always do that as well. In fact, we'll find out when he comes back for a taste in just a moment.
Today at 4 on Suncoast View. I'm Stephanie Roberts on Suncoast View. What works and what doesn't to keep you from getting sick. Plus Daredevil Bellow Knock and a trip around St. Armand Circle. Today at 4 on Suncoast View.
The official Suncoast Storm team at ABC7. We're here for you.
Selling your home? Insist on a 3D showcase tour from Gulf Shores Realty. Virtual tours are flat and boring and look more like a slideshow than a tour. A 3D tour from Gulf Shores Realty is like actually walking through the home without the drive. Get instant access to your next home from any device. Multiple views give homebuyers a perspective like no other. For a limited time, mention ABC7 and Gulf Shores Realty will provide a complimentary 3D tour with your new listing.
Go ahead. Make a fashion statement. Demand something more than just ordinary. Capture elegance in every turn and drive with flair. Where beautiful styling is standard. Stop in and take a test drive. I'll guarantee you'll never go back to plain vanilla again. The all-new 2017 Fiat 500, starting at $14,999. Only at Sunset Fiat in Sarasota.
Wouldn't it be great if you had a sofa covered in fabric that's kid-proof? Now you can! Introducing Kid-Proof by Rowe, now at Bacon's Furniture. For a limited time only, save 40% off Kids-Proof sofas at Bacon. Just look for the little green hand and select from hundreds of different fabrics that resist almost anything life throws at it. Some fabrics repel liquid, and all the amazing styles and comfortable fabrics are easy to clean. Kid-Proof sofas, now 40% off at Bacon's Furniture in Sarasota.
There are many choices when it comes to AC companies. Our advice? Choose a company that performs employee background checks and is licensed with top manufacturers like Daikin. Daikin offers a 12-year parts and labor limited warranty. For better comfort and value, call Elite Heating and Air.
Looking at an area throughout the Deep South where, despite the cloud cover around, we're the warmest part of the country anywhere you look. The state of Florida right now. New Orleans coming in at 75, Sarasota at 77. A lot of cloud cover streaming across the state, but to the north of us, there are some chilly temperatures in the country. Looking at Minneapolis, St. Paul coming in at 24 degrees, 34 Chicago. They'll probably see some icing occur. 41 degrees Kansas City, Albuquerque even coming in at a chilly 36. We have across the state, generally temperatures hovering in the upper 70s to close to the 80-degree mark. 77 Fort Myers, 78 in Naples, 80 Miami, Key West. Key West actually started off the day in the mid-70s, so a pretty warm start down there. We have 76 degrees in Wauchula, 76 in Arcadia, 78 degrees Mayaca, Parrish at 76, 78 in Bradenton, 77 in Sarasota, and Northport coming in at 76 degrees. Currently, the official air temperature at the airport 77, and the dew point has risen significantly. We're now at 60-degree dew point. And again, that dew point value measures the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. And with the dew point in the 60s, I wouldn't be surprised if we see any clearing at all tonight and the winds die down, which I think they will. We'll probably see some patchy fog around tomorrow morning. Cloud cover pretty thick out there, but I do think we will see breaks in that cloud cover. We had some high, thin clouds move across this morning, and now a southeasterly plume of moisture bringing that cloud cover across our region. But high pressure building in, I think, will kind of erode away at that cloud cover and maybe even push it a little further to the south. A couple areas of low pressure we continue to monitor. This is the third area of low pressure supporting ice production since this weekend, and we're seeing some pretty good accumulations already. Dodge City saw some accumulations of almost an inch of ice and led to widespread power outages. Now, Chicago area, mostly to the north, seeing some icy situations as well. And then the frontal boundary extending back down through Texas has the potential of producing severe weather again today through the Arklatex and on up into areas of Kentucky, Tennessee, at least on the upwind side of the mountains. As that low moves off to the north and to the east, the UP of Michigan could see some icing. Traverse City might see some icing. And then as it moves into down east Maine, parts of higher elevations could see some icing as well. Back to the west, another low pressure area will eventually by midweek move onshore, and that will produce some very heavy snowfall and some very heavy rains for California all the way up through Washington state. For us, high pressure will be the dominant feature straight through the next several days. That means mostly sunny skies, dry conditions, and above normal warmth. I don't think we'll see the cloud cover that we're seeing today around tomorrow. In fact, I'm surprised it's lasted this long, but it has. 74, 75 degrees over the course of the next several days. I think we'll see nighttime lows hovering around the 60 mark. Colder air will be locked to the north. This warm, moist air lifts north and makes for an abnormally warm day throughout much of the deep south over the next several days. Frontal boundary lifts off to the north and to the east, and then the front itself shouldn't be much of a player in our weather. It's basically going to stall out right across Washington, D.C. and lead to some somewhat unsettled weather as it kind of wags its tail north and south across that region. East wind this afternoon becoming variable this evening, and we'll look for daytime highs near 80 over the next several days with a 10% chance of rain today. Scott?
All right, John, thank you. An incredible story out of Jacksonville is making headlines all over the world. An 18-year-old girl kidnapped at birth is now reunited with her biological parents. Her kidnapper, who she believed to be her birth mother, is now behind bars. And as for the man who raised her, he says he's stunned to discover he's not her birth father. ABC's Ava Pilgrim has a story.
Heartwarming images of a family reunited 18 years after being kidnapped, a smiling daughter, her biological father full of gratitude.
Never gave up hope. Always thought I'd find her.
But this morning, there's heartache for the man who thought he was her father.
I named her. It's a name I had for years, Alexis Kelly. It's just the love of my life.
Charles Mandingo says his then-girlfriend Gloria Williams told him she gave birth to their daughter while he was away. Mandingo and Williams raising her from the time she was a newborn, tattooing the name of his only child on his arm. The pair sharing custody after they split up in 2003, celebrating milestones like prom together. And then, out of the blue, their worlds turned upside down.
The person she called dad for 18 and a half years is not a dad.
DNA testing uncovering the truth. Alexis was in fact baby Camilla, snatched from a Florida hospital in 1998.
The attention is overwhelming to her, you know. She's still processing everything, you know. It's a shock to me. It's a bigger shock to her.
This morning, 51-year-old Williams is behind bars, facing charges for the kidnapping. The case getting national attention as the frantic search played out.
I just want to know where my baby is at. I just want my baby back.
Meanwhile, Mandingo says he had no idea the child he was raising was taken from someone else.
Why do you think she did this?
That's $1 million question. I don't know.
He says even though he's not Alexis's biological father, he'll always be there for her.
Doesn't change any feelings I have for Alexis. The same love I had from the day I held her to now, to 43 more years. She's my child. I can't cut that off. I won't cut it off.
Eva Pilgrim reporting from Jacksonville. When we come back, we'll wrap up lunch with Chef Judy and Alec Baldwin back at it again, his latest parody of the president-elect on Saturday Night Live. Entertainment news is next.
Are you a food lover, restaurant goer, or home cook? Then check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC 7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blogs, and helpful step-by-step videos. And you'll love the restaurant guide with direct links to your favorite Suncoast eateries. Whether you're cooking in or dining out, whet your appetite with tasty tips from Chef Judy at mysuncoast.com/dining.
I believe that home is where your pet is.
And that loving an animal means never giving up on them, never letting them go.
I believe that when you spay or neuter your pets, you help decrease the number of homeless animals.
Because every dog and cat deserves a place to call home.
I believe that I found my best friend at a shelter. And you can too.
We believe that together with Best Friends Animal Society,
we can bring about a time when there are no more homeless pets.
Visit ambassadors.bestfriends.org.
All hands on deck. What's up? I want to point out 3 tips for using the home computer more safely. Point away.
First, stop. Make sure your software is up to date and that you've password protected your computer's login and Wi-Fi connection.
Next, think before visiting a site, opening attachments, or clicking on links.
Then connect, knowing you're helping make the web safer for you
and for everyone. Make Stop, Think, Connect part of your daily online routine.
ABC 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you weeknights at 5.
Our community has its struggles. The fact is, people have less than they did just a few years ago, and sadly, the need becomes more profound every day. Season of Sharing provides funds to help individuals and families in need, ensuring they will not end up homeless and without a roof over their heads. Together, providing a helping hand and making a difference. Season of Sharing. Give today at cfsarasota.org.
Hi, I'm Chef Judy. Every Wednesday morning, I'll be with the chefs at the Publix Aprons Cooking School, serving up the most wonderful dishes. Watch Aprons in the Kitchen every Wednesday on ABC 7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Since 1928, Kerastan has been setting the standard in carpets and rugs, producing non-allergenic wools that won't promote the growth of bacteria or dust mites like other carpets will. Kerastan wools actively remove contaminants from the indoor air, making your home healthier. And there are many colors and patterns and textures to choose from. Come see for yourself.
So many possibilities worth exploring. Minnesota Flooring.
Cancer does change people's lives. It is frightening. The treatment for fear is hope. And what works for you is not necessarily going to work for somebody else. It does take a whole team. This is a facility that really cares about the outcome of the patients. So our job at Sarasota Memorial Hospital is to meet the needs of that individual any way we need to meet them.
Amen. Lord, hear my prayer.
Here we are. We got
We're back.
scared. We saw something that looked a little spooky, but
I'm not
we're
scared
back.
of this.
And this is not. Don't be scared of that.
I am not. This is like a deep
frittata.
dish omelet, right?
Yeah, that's exactly
So
what
good.
it's like. Puffs up a little bit more. You have the Gruyere to give you the nuttiness, ricotta to give you the fluffiness, and then I like it with the extra ricotta, crostini, and tomatoes on top, right?
Oh, that's delicious.
Super easy. Somebody that doesn't cook, like you've got all the potatoes, butternut squash. It's like a complete meal in a pan, and I like to cook that way one night a week.
It makes it easy too, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
definitely less to wash
Oh,
it.
this is so tasty. And like you say, great for brunch, main course.
Yeah.
Beautiful
and
stuff.
you can get this recipe by going on to mysuncoast.com. Click on the dining page. The recipe should be up in an hour or two along with a video and lots more restaurant reviews and things like that.
Judy,
so
thanks
you
so
enjoy
much.
it. You're
Absolutely
welcome.
delicious.
Scott will save you a piece over here.
All right. Sounds good, guys. Thank you. The man who scared up The Exorcist has died. William Peter Blatty passed away last Thursday of multiple myeloma. His 1971 novel rewrote the book on horror, and the film version has had heads turning in terror for decades. Very scary movie. Blatty was 89 years old. A lawsuit for Johnny Depp. He's suing his former business managers for more than $25 million. The actor claims they stole millions from him for nearly 2 decades and treated his income like their own personal bank account. The lawsuit was filed the same day he finalized his divorce with actress Amber Heard. Donald Trump's first press conference as president-elect getting a remake on Saturday Night Live. Alec Baldwin returned to reprise his role as the president-elect. During the sketch, they took on various issues, including the biggest one on Trump's agenda, Obamacare and his plans to replace it.
Obamacare is a disaster, and I actually do have a replacement plan, okay? I just read about it this week. It's a terrific plan, just great. It's called the Affordable Care Act.
That's the same thing as Obamacare, and if you repeal it, 20 million people will lose their health insurance. I mean, people could die.
Listen, sweetheart, I'm about to be president. We're all going to die.
Trump did not find the sketch too funny, as you might imagine. He tweeted yesterday calling the cast terrible and a complete hit job. Finally, this afternoon, just called another story out of Florida. A woman recorded getting video of this large gator.
Seriously?
I know, right? Taking an afternoon stroll at a nature preserve in Polk County. That is a big bull gator.
Holy cow. Wait, there are people back there.
Yeah, it didn't hurt anyone. And it's been captivating to see a gator that big. Since being posted on Facebook, it's been shared more than 7,000 times. That gator's in no hurry.
And that's a real gator, right? I just want to make sure this isn't a prop. That's scary.
Where does that gator sleep?
Wherever it wants.
There you are.
But I'm bummed.
Wow.
Yay.
Yeah. A little bit of cloud cover this afternoon. Maybe a sprinkle, about a 10% chance. Otherwise, pretty decent day. If you have the day off, enjoy it.
Okay, John, thank you. Judy, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you for joining us. Have a wonderful day ahead. We'll see you again at 5 o'clock.